Lou Dobbs, welcome to the Young Turks.
Well, great to be with you, John.
All right. Now, Mr. Dobbs, we agree on many things, such as the lobbyists ruining politics and sticking up for the middle class, etc. But it'd be no fun to talk about the things we agree on.
Sure, let's go for it.
Let's talk about the things we don't agree on, mainly the problem of illegal immigration. I'm sure we both agree that it is a problem and that we should have people within the laws and apply through the legal way. In fact, I did. I'm a legal immigrant.
Great.
And my family went through the processes, and so we believe in the process. Right?
Super.
What I think a lot of people have as a criticism of your book and your show on CNN as well is that it seems a little bit more personal to you. Rather than talking about it in a way where you say, hey, look, we've got a problem in the system and we should fix the system, it seems that you attack the illegal aliens invading the country and bringing disease and crime, etc. with them. Can you understand where they're coming from when they have that criticism?
Sure, they're trying to advance an open borders agenda. They're trying to drive an agenda for amnesty, and they're playing games. I take a lot of things personally. I take personally the fact that public education is absolutely failing this society, and it's the great equalizer in our society. I take that very personally. I take it very personally that half of all bankruptcies are because of serious illness and catastrophic illness and accidents. And yet corporate America wrote the 2005 bankruptcy laws that make it almost impossible for those people to find protection from creditors, even when it's no fault of their own.
No, but I'm saying something a little different here, Lou.
Okay.
I'm saying that when you say that they're invading the country, and when
what would you call it, John?
Okay, now, it makes it seem like you're attacking them rather than the flawed system.
Oh, but if you want me to attack them, as you put it, you would have to find any language where I have ever expressed anything but great respect for the illegal aliens who cross that border out of desperate need for a job. I worked with migrant workers as a young man. I've been in bean fields when the temperatures were 100 degrees and potato fields. I have the greatest respect for migrant labor. The migrants I worked with happen to be Mexican citizens. This is part of the little propaganda machine for the open borders lobby and the amnesty lobby who want to demagogue this issue. And Jet, you're too smart to do that because here are the facts. We bring in more than 2 million immigrants, and you know this. We bring in more than 2 million legal immigrants into this country every year, Jen. You obviously were one of them in your family. So these open borders and amnesty advocates act like this is some sort of closed society. This is the most diverse society on the face of the earth. We bring more legal immigrants into this country every year than the rest of the world combined. And you know that.
We're talking to Lou Dobbs. He's the author of Independence Day. Obviously does Lou Dobbs Tonight on CNN as well. Lou, here's the situation. We've got 12 million illegal immigrants here.
Well,
and
obviously between 12 and 20 million illegal.
Right, and since they're undocumented, it's hard to keep track. But obviously they're part of our economy, and they're part of what makes our economy function. There's a town in Nebraska that did a raid, and they wanted to get tough on the immigrants. And when they took them away, it turns out the factory couldn't work anymore, depressed the town's economy. Everybody was in trouble, and they brought them back. Okay, so
no. Now they didn't bring them back. No.
So
the town was in Georgia. It was a chicken plant, and in point of fact, they found out that they had plenty of workers just as soon as they raised the wages and improved working conditions. It was a chicken factory in Nebraska, Jen. It's the beef packing industry.
That's right.
Which is hiring illegal aliens by the truckload, and which has driven wages over the last 20 years in the beef packing industry down by 50%.
Well, the story I read was in the New York Times and it was in Nebraska. So we can, look, on facts, there are many things that we can certainly argue about. For example, on your show, you said that a third of the people that are in jails are illegal aliens, but it turns out it's only 6%. Have you corrected that?
That's not true. That is absolutely not true. Nearly 30% of those people in our federal prisons, okay, are
not according to the Justice Department.
Yes, according to the Justice Department.
I'm looking at the numbers right now.
Listen to me, Jen. You are referring to the statistics for state and local prisons. And immigration is a federal crime, and that's where they are incarcerated. It's an absolute game that the idiotic New York Times, which is the House organ for amnesty and open borders perpetrated.
Lou, let's get beyond, because we're never going to agree on the so-called facts. I cite this, you cite that, and it's going to go around in circles. So let me get to what you think is the solution. So we got anywhere between 12 to 20 million people that are working right now. Do you think the solution is let's take them out and move them out and bring them back to Mexico, and the economy won't suffer at all, and we'll still go on as is?
Jet, remember when I told you you've been listening to a lot of propaganda and nonsense? Mm-hmm. I have never called for deportation of a single illegal alien other than criminal illegal aliens and those captured at the border.
So what's the solution?
Are you aware of that?
No, I got you. So what's the solution?
I've actually called for an increase in immigration, legal immigration, if as a matter of public policy we determine we really need to do that. But the reality is, Jen, that in the four industries in which illegal aliens have the highest concentration of employment, construction, landscaping, leisure, hospitality, that is, hotels and restaurants, wages have actually been declining for the past 5 years. That is an indication of a surplus of labor, not a deficit of labor, and in point of fact, it is the design of corporate America and those illegal employers to depress wages.
Don't you agree that we have to keep most? Don't you agree that we have to keep most of the workers that are here already here in America? Otherwise, we would have a tremendous lack of supply of workers.
Well, in point of fact, in economic reality, that's not true.
Really?
Oh, absolutely not. There are two fictions. One is, quote unquote, the United States could never deport 20 million illegal aliens. Jen, you are a first-generation American, right?
Yes.
One of the great things about this country you're going to find, if you have not already, is this country can do whatever it sets its mind to. I detest...
But I thought you said you don't want to deport the 20. But you just said
But
that
I also don't want people telling the American people that they can't do something as a basis
but do you want them to
permitting
do it,
something that's unconscionable and untenable.
So do you want to deport them or don't you want to deport them?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so then we don't have to worry about that.
What I do want, Jen, is for people to think instead of react on an emotional and nonsensical basis.
But the problem is that emotion comes in when you say they're invading and they're bringing disease, which isn't true, and that they're all,
yes,
that a lot of them are criminals.
Tuberculosis is skyrocketing in this country. My God.
Because of Mexicans.
Jen, because they're not coming through screening processes for immigration, and they're coming in with diseases that have not been screened. Look, I mean, that's a simple damn fact. Why do you think you had to go through the same process? Why do you think that generation after generation of immigrants, lawful immigrants, have to go through the process? It's just logic. It's not the fault of the illegal immigrant or alien.
All right, fair enough.
It's the reality.
We're going to have to leave it at that. And
well, let me ask you one quick question.
Yes.
Can I?
Oh, absolutely. Hey, we don't have the time restriction. You do. Go ahead.
If we disagree, let me ask you to let me lay out one syllogism. You tell me how to defeat the logic of it, and I'll sign up with whatever program you want. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
If we want to talk about reforming immigration and border security, let me ask you this: how could we possibly reform immigration law meaningfully if we can't control immigration? And how can we control immigration if we don't control our borders and our ports?
Well, the question isn't whether we should. Of course we should. The question is how. And I think that's where the reasonable debate comes in.
No, the question is
I think we're saying, hey, you know what? These people that have come here, they're obviously serving a purpose, but let's make them legal in a way that they earn it, and I've got no problems with that. And as long as they go through a process, a similar process that I went through, I think it makes sense that we need these workers to some degree and that they should stay here and go through a legal process. I don't know why anybody would disagree with that.
You don't want to answer my question about the syllogism, do you?
No. I'm saying yes, of course, we should control our borders, and the way to do that is to pass reasonable legislation that I think the Senate had, honestly.
No, my question still is how can you reform immigration law if you can't control immigration? How can you control immigration if you don't control your borders?
You do a comprehensive piece of legislation that recognizes the people that are here, that recognizes the future problem, that recognizes controlling borders. You take all of that into account. I have no problems with that, absolutely.
Need you out in 30 seconds.
All right. The book is Independence Day. And one last question for you, real quick, in 30 seconds or less.
No.
Christopher Columbus. Do you celebrate Christopher Columbus Day? Because he was an illegal alien, right? Didn't ask for permission to come.
Actually, I don't like, I frankly am no fan of St. Patrick's Day, Columbus Day, or any other celebration of heritage other than that of America.
God
I
bless.
think that
All right.
too many people celebrate differences rather than our commonalities and what we share.
Well, I agree with that. Absolutely. Lou Dobbs, the author of Independence Day, thank you so much for joining us on the Young Turks.